Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be reacting to my May TBR. I am doing this for the fourth video in my TBR completion project vlog series. So if this is the first time you've stumbled upon one of these videos, what I do is I react to a previous TBR and then all the unread books that were on that TBR will be read in the second half of this video, which will be a reading vlog. I have made a playlist that contains all the previous videos in this series, so I'll leave the playlist up in the cards and also in the description box if you have not checked those videos out. I was trying to think about May and the books I had on my TBR and the books I read. I don't think it's going to be like outrageously ridiculous, but I have a feeling we might have quite a few books. The first book I'm hoping to get to is Chinko. So at the moment, this one's currently reading. I read Jade City. It's one of my favourite reads of this year. I selected the book Steel Crow Saga. I read Steel Crow Saga. I had really mixed feelings on it. Going into it, I thought it was the first book in a series, but it's not. It's a standalone. And I thought the way the first half of the book was set up, it was really set up to be a series. There was so much world building, and then the ending was just so rushed because there was just so much going on and so much had to be wrapped up. The fourth prompt is to read a book recommended to you by an Asian. So I messaged my friend Donna for a recommendation and she told me to pick up Book Love. I never read Book Love, but it's a graphic novel, so it's not going to be that time consuming. Read the group book, and the group book is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. This I believe is a domestic drama. I actually never read Little Fires Everywhere. Okay. A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. Yeah, I read this. Really enjoyed it too. I decided that I'm going to pick up the sequel to this book, which is called A Sprinkle of Sorcery. And I also read the sequel for Believathon, so we're doing well. I'm going to read Fablehaven. I also read Fablehaven. Is Under the Pendulum Sun. I didn't read that one. I also have The Never Tilting World by Richard Becko. I did read this. I also have The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. Oh my god. The Grace of Kings is huge. Like, huge. Okay. Guess I'm reading it this week because I didn't read it back in May. Last but not least, I have Never Let Me Go. I didn't read this one either. Okay, that isn't too bad. I'm going to leave it here. Okay, so we're starting this video a little late. Reading plans for the week. Now, The Grace of Kings is the book that I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it up and then have a certain number of pages I'm going to have to read every single day and then hopefully finish it by the end of the week. This one, Under the Pendulum Sun, all I know is this is like a gothic fae story and it's a standalone fantasy. And then of course we have Earthsea. I will be completing the last book in this bind up this week. And we have Book Love, which is a graphic novel. I did start last night, Never Let Me Go. I'm currently just over 100 pages in this. This is so weird. We follow this lady, Kathy, who's like 31 and she's retelling her story of her youth. And she went to this really secretive and notorious school where these kids were kept secluded from the rest of the world and they were really encouraged to do art. And they had to value art and do it. Art that was seen as good that they did would be donated to these like galleries. We're learning about her two friends from childhood, Tommy and Ruth. I don't know what's going on entirely, but I'm very intrigued. I will say it is reminding me of The Promised Neverland, which is a manga and anime series. And then the last book I have to read is Little Fires Everywhere, but I plan to listen to the audiobook of that one. So that's it. It is Wednesday. No, it's not. It's Thursday. I almost lied. But I have a few updates. First, let's talk about Book Love. I read this yesterday. I ended up doing a spontaneous live show with my friends Tammy and Rue. Tammy's channel is Tammy Tries to Read and Rue's channel is Rue's Reading Corner. I will, of course, have them linked. Please check them out if you haven't already. And I finished this book during that live show. This is just the most delightful read. Honestly, I think everyone who loves to read needs to pick up this book because it's just about loving books. It talks about like reading slumps and like it gives advice how to get out of reading slumps. It talks about like staying up all night and reading books and like having to wait for the next book in a series. Like this is just so relatable. Yeah, I just love this so much. I highly recommend this. It was gorgeous, really gorgeous. And I have to thank my friend Donna from from Donna Sundoku because she is the person who originally recommended this book to me, and it's because of her I picked it up. So Donna, if you're watching this, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. I also managed to complete Never Let Me Go. This book is weird. I was really unsure what to rate this because I did really like the writing. I thought it was told in a very interesting way because it was mostly told in first person, but then we would get these little snippets of second person, and there was just this huge like sort of blanket of mystery throughout most of the story. But the actual story itself and the characters and all that, I don't think I liked. So I gave it like a 2.75. The thing is, I went into this knowing, because I know I've seen the movie trailer, I can distinctly remember that the movie trailer depicted this book or story to be about these three friends, and it is about that, but I was just expecting to really love this friendship dynamic and to really feel for them, and I didn't care. I also made a start on 2 of the other books, so I'm currently about like 32% of the way through Little Fires Everywhere. I'm really liking this so far. So this book follows 2 families. We have this like really rich white family that has 4 kids, and then we have this other family where it's a single mum and a daughter. The daughter of the single mum, Pearl, she becomes friends with some of the kids, well, the 3 older children in the rich white family, and she starts hanging out with them. And then what's happened is the youngest child of the rich white family, Izzy, she started to become really attached to the mother, the single mother, and it's really interesting, this sort of dynamic, because you can see the influences that this rich white family is having on this poorer family, and then vice versa. The rich white mother, she's often referred to as Mrs. Richardson, but I can't at the moment think of her first name. I think that tells you a lot about her character. She offers Nia work to clean up her house. And I did also quickly made a start on The Grace of Kings in the last part of the live show I did yesterday. So only 2 chapters in, I'm really enjoying this. I've got the audiobook, so yesterday when I started I did listen to the audiobook and read along, and I think I'm going to switch between physically reading and listening to the audiobook as well. It is Friday and I'm still behind on my reading for this week. Anyway, I did finish Little Fires Everywhere. I loved this so much. I was a little bit iffy on it at first, not going to lie. It did take a little bit of warming up, but I just loved this book more and more the more I read it. Like, the rating started probably at like 2.75 to 3 stars, and then as I read, it just increasingly went up. I think part of the reason I was kind of hesitant at first was because I have read this author's other book, Everything I Never Told You, and I did not really like that one. The thing is, this book is more of a themed driven book, I would say, which I just thought was so fascinating. Prior to picking this book up, I knew there was something to do with an adoption. I knew that it was about a white family adopting an Asian baby and the mother wanting custody of that baby back. That is part of the story, but it's honestly one of the most minor parts. People often describe this book as a suburban family domestic drama, and the book is definitely that, but I think that describing this book as that sort of dumbs it down. There's a lot more nuance. The themes are really deep. I thought they were really well fleshed out. I did like some of the characters, but I think most of the characters are not there for you to like grow attached to. I think some of them are there to like kind of show how some people can be problematic, and in a microaggressive way where they are just so oblivious to how they are problematic and they think that they're doing the right thing, but they're just doing what they think is right, not necessarily what other people want or think is right. It's really interesting. I really enjoyed it. I watched the first episode of the TV show last night and I really liked that as well. The only other thing I will say is I think some people won't like the ending because it is kind of open-ended, but I think this book did what it intended to do, and what it did not intend to do was to give you an entire complete full circle story. I think it's supposed to talk about the themes, it's supposed to talk about these characters, and I think the book was trying to show these characters and their privilege, their ignorance, their microaggressions. I have made a start on these, but I'm going to talk to you about them tomorrow. It's Sunday night, so this vlog's going to be late. It's okay. I'll have to just make sure to catch up on my scheduling of these vlogs in the next one or the one after. I'll get there. Now, let me update you on FC. Tanahu is the final book in this binder, and I really liked it. I think it's my second favorite out of this binder. So I'll put my like ratings of favorite to least favorite on the screen so you can see. But yeah, this one I'm pretty sure is my second favorite. In this book, we start following this older middle-aged woman who is called Goa. She was a witch, but she lived a ordinary life as a farmer's wife. She's now a widow. At the start of this book, her friend brings her this child who has been attacked and hurt. Goa sort of looks after her and decides to take this child to someone who can give her the care she needs. This one is definitely one I felt more connected to the characters. I felt like we got more of the characters, whereas I feel like in the previous books there was a lot more focus on setting. It's interesting as well because the second book that I really like is very female focused, and this fourth book is also really female focused. Well, book 1 and book 2, which are my least favorites in this binder, are very male focused. At the end, I read the author's note, and she was saying that when this book first came out, that a lot of people didn't like it. People who were previously huge fans of the first 3 books didn't like this 4th book because it's really different to the first 3, which honestly is what I liked about it. But apparently there was issues because it's really feminist. I think my final rating is going to be a 3.75 for this book, but I ended up just giving the entire binder 4 stars on Goodreads. Now, I haven't finished the last 2 books that I meant to read for this vlog. Let's talk about The Grace of Kings first. I just spilled a bit of my cream on it, so that's what that is. At the start of this book is the emperor dies. He sort of dies under suspicious events, and then shortly after his death, the crown prince is not given the throne. His younger brother, who was not supposed to inherit the throne, inherits the throne. So basically, he's sort of like one of those young puppet princes. Then we have other nobles and people sort of controlling him and influencing the politics and how this world is run. Then we have like other people who are rebelling and trying to change the situation. There are 2 main characters I would say in this. The first one is Zuni, who you first meet at 14, and by page 200 he's like an adult. He started off as a little bit of a party animal and gambler and a bum, but he's someone who, no matter what he's doing in life, he's always had a really good and noble heart and wants to help out others. He sort of really quickly rises into a position where he's fighting for changes in the kingdom. Then we have Mata, who was born into this family that is noble but also has this long line of like warrior clan, and he has 2 or double pupilled eyes, and a lot of people say that as like a sign that he's meant for greatness and meant to lead. So even though he's born in this like notorious family, his family was sort of broken apart or killed and stripped of their rights when he was a baby. So he was deprived of his birthright. So he is also trying to make changes in the kingdom while also trying to live up to and gain what is his. That's kind of all I can say. And my main issue with this book is the pacing. Things are happening so fast, and it's just a bit jarring. I think also too, for a book that's very political focused and military focused, that it's moving too fast for my liking, because I find that books that are slower in pace, that there is time to build up tension and stakes, and because things are happening so fast, there is no tension, and also things are just happening too easily for the characters that I do feel like there's no stakes. I definitely do like the world though, and there's these really interesting like snippets of like the gods coming into play. And then I'm also in the middle of Under the Pendulum Sun. I'm almost halfway. I'm also not feeling extremely positive about this book either, unfortunately. We start off with following this girl called Kathy or Catherine. It's sort of set in like Victorian England. Her brother is a missionary and he has gone to Arcadia, which is basically the Feylands, and it's been a few weeks. She hasn't heard from him. They were communicating by writing letters to one another, so now she's really worried about him, so she's decided to take herself to Arcadia, even though she's not supposed to. Like, her brother's always told her not to go because it's going to be dangerous. She arrives there, but she goes to this castle where her brother was staying, and there's like this changeling and this gnome there, and she is confined there, and they say it's because it's really dangerous outside and there's all sorts of creatures and things that can cause her harm. So she's just sort of stranded in this castle waiting for her brother. So yeah, mixed feelings on these last 2 books, unfortunately. Hopefully things get better towards the end. Okay, I have finally finished both these books. I literally just finished this one. This is the one that sort of dragged out a little bit. I didn't like this at all. I wanted to like it. The concept sounded so cool to me, and I definitely think that the atmosphere and the tone of the story, which was really quite sinister and dark, gothic, really worked well and was really, really great. I really did like that. But this actual story, I didn't like at all. The plot itself is so flimsy. The setup plot that you're introduced to is a sister going to Arcadia, which is fairyland, to find her brother. She finds her brother though before page 100, and the rest of it was just like nothing, like just things happened, but it didn't lead in any sort of direction really. And I hated the plot twist in this, and the worst thing of all was this had incest in it. So no, no. So I'm giving this one a star. I don't like this. I don't recommend it. I also finished The Grace of Kings. I am going to give this 3 stars. This book takes place over like 30 years, maybe more. And even though it was cool to see all these political events and how the rulers rise to power and fell, and like the main character Cooney kind of coming from like a peasant class and his rise, it was really interesting. But I think that there was so much jumping to each stage of the story that we didn't get a journey, and I think that's really important to like create tension, really make you like root for the characters, because like you want them to get to their goal, but everything just kept happening so quickly and kept moving along so quickly that I never got invested in what the characters' goals were and the plot direction. So that was my number 1 issue. My second issue was like the female characters in this like were all love interest. There was a really great dynamic at one stage in here between the 2 main characters, and I thought that was really, really interesting. But again, it was really, really interesting, and then things got resolved or we moved on from those circumstances so quickly that it was like as soon as I felt interested or invested, we were on to another journey. This book as well is another book that is on my top 20, that is really my top 90 books of 2022 read. So we get to tick off one more book from that list this week, which is satisfying. So that is it for this vlog. I'm so sorry this vlog is late. I haven't been in a reading slump. I've been more in a filming and editing slump, like the end of last week and over the weekend. I just did not want to put myself on camera. Like I was just kind of like over seeing myself and talking to myself, just kind of was over myself is the only way I can put it. But I'm going to try and catch up and get back on schedule this week, which will be next week's vlog for you guys. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you have made it this far, please leave me the yellow flower emoji. Dandelion is in the series name of this book series, but I can't remember what the actual series name is that I was fitting. So yeah, leave that in the comment to let me know you've enjoyed this video. Also make sure to hit the bell icon. Apparently YouTube has been screwing over creators yet again, and a lot of people aren't showing up in sub boxes. So to make sure you can watch the rest of the videos in this series, please make sure to hit that bell icon, and I will see you soon in another video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're enjoying whatever you're currently reading. Bye!